Guys, my camera today is a bit shaky because of the wind, but you'll bear with me. So today, let us discuss this guy. This is the leader of al-Shabab, the de facto main emir of the group al-Shabab in Somalia. But before we go into that, let me just say this. So al-Shabab has retaken two key towns in southern Somalia in Lower Shabelle region. The two key towns are known as Sabida and Anole. They are very close to each other. They are like 2 or 3 kilometers apart. And al-Shabaab carried out, a coordinated massive attack against the troops who occupied those two key towns. So about 2 weeks ago, both the Ugandan forces, alongside the Somali National Army, conducted a massive operation that flushed out al-Shabaab from those two key towns. That is Sabida and Anole in Lower Shabelle region, southern Somalia. But it happened that 2 weeks later, al-Shabaab planned and they carried out a very, very massive coordinated attack using even vehicle-borne explosive devices, and they entered those towns by force. They breached, the camps, both the camps of the Somali National Army and the camp, belonging to the Ugandan forces that are there for a peacekeeping mission. So this morning, they said they took that town, and they, killed a lot of Somali National Army soldiers and also a number of Ugandan soldiers. So they have taken that town officially, and they've even published videos and photos showing them, overrunning these military camps. So let me go back to this guy. This guy, I'll begin by his name. He is called Ahmed Dirie. He has many aliases, but his main alias that he's known for is Abu Umar in Somalia. He was born in 1970. He was born in the Ethiopian Somalia region, that is in Ogaden, Ethiopia, and he moved to southern Somalia sometime when he was about 20 years old. So he came to southern Somalia and moved from southern Somalia and came to Kenya. So he was a teacher, a Quran teacher in Mandera. Many Kenyans don't know that. So the leader of al-Shabaab was one time a Quran teacher in Mandera, that is a border town in Kenya that borders Somalia. So from there in 1996, he left Kenya and moved again into southern Somalia, basically a place called Kismayo, and began teaching Quran again. And he became, the headmaster or the leader or, the senior guy within a Quranic school in Kismayo. He was the manager basically of a Quranic school in Kismayo. So that is in 1996. So within that period, again, he joined a group called Al-Ittihad Al-Islamiyya. I talked about this group a long time ago. That was the first Islamic group that was, created by Hassan Dahir Awais in 1991. That was the first one in Somalia, Al-Ittihad Al-Islamiyya. There was no group before it. So he joined Al-Ittihad Al-Islamiyya in 1996, and he rose through the ranks. And, basically Al-Ittihad Al-Islamiyya at that time was not an armed group, and they were not, carrying out terrorism or jihadism kind of attack, the violent kind of attacks that we see with these groups today. So they were just a group that was, agitating for the government of Somalia at that time to adopt Islamic Sharia, but they were not that violent. So in 2006, those, small Islamic groups that were agitating for Islamic Sharia came together, and they formed something called the Islamic Court Unions in Somalia, Mogadishu, Somalia. So this guy was among the founders. He's not, somebody that is, very, very small. He's not a lightweight in those groups. So he was part of the founders now of the Islamic Court Unions. That is in 2006. So in 2007, the African Union Security Council came together and decided that initially, first of all, they will send in Ethiopian troops to dismantle the Islamic Court Unions. And besides dismantling the Islamic Court Unions, they want also to send African peacekeeping mission. So they, came together and named about 6 countries that will contribute troops to Somalia. So the Islamic Court Unions was dismantled in 2007 completely. So once it was dismantled, it was torn into two. The leadership, part of the leadership, became, secular political leaders. They abandoned their religious ideology, and some of them now created al-Shabab. So this guy is among the guys again who created al-Shabab. He is the brainchild again that, cut off from the Islamic Court Unions, and they decided to create al-Shabab. So they moved into southern Somalia in their headquarters, now basically called Jilib and Jamame in southern Somalia. So once they moved there, they named a leader, and the leader they named was this guy's cousin, a very close cousin of him. He's called Ahmed Godan. He was killed. He was killed by, a U.S. drone strike on 1st of September 2014. So this guy was his, personal assistant. He was very close to him. And again, this guy, when Al-Shabaab was created, that is in 2007, he is the brainchild that created the Amniyat, the intelligence wing of Al-Shabaab. Basically, the Amniyat and basically the Amniyat, also the intelligence wing of the al-Shabab, is everything, is the brain behind everything that happens within al-Shabab. This guy uh, is the one who created the Amniyat now, the intelligence wing of al-Shabab. So he carried out massive attacks, both within Somalia. He planned massive attacks within Somalia, in Kenya, and in other countries, including Uganda. So he also planned a lot of attacks and capturing many towns within Somalia. So this guy, when he became the head of Amniyat, he's the one who created it in 2007. He's the brainchild, because he was the founders. He was among the founders of al-Shabaab. So once he created that Amniyat, it is said that a lot of other leaders who were against his cousin, that was the leader at the time, Ahmed Godane, were arrested and jailed. So including those guys who were jailed includes a guy called Fuad Chongole, a very, very, very senior guy within the Islamic Sharia thing within Somalia. He's a very, very brilliant and very well learned Muslim scholar. Fuad Chongole is still part of al-Shabaab. So his brother Ahmed Godane jailed a lot of guys, and it is this guy that killed many foreigners that were in the group, including Al-Amriki. Al-Amriki was an American jihadi who, came to Al-Shabaab in 2006 and joined the Islamic Court Unions, and later, joined Al-Shabaab. So he was, suspected of being a spy. Him and many other, foreigners, basically some of them from Kenya, some of them from even other parts of Europe, Middle East, and many, many, foreigners within Al-Shabaab were arrested, and they were executed in Bai and Bakol. The guy behind that, was this one. And his brother, while this guy was, executing those guys, he was the head of the Aminiyat and also the governor of Bai and Bakol regions in Somalia. So he executed them in Bai and Bakol. That is, in 2012, 2013, that around that area, that is when they executed some of the, very, very senior foreign leaders of the Al-Shabaab, guys who, came from other countries to come and join Al-Shabaab. So he was the brainchild behind that. And while he was doing that, his brother was jailing very, very senior Somali guys who are in the Al-Shabaab, who also came from Europe, like Fuad Chongol. Fuad Chongol came from Sweden. He came from Sweden and joined the group around 2010. So he was jailed. They thought that, he came up with, very, very brilliant ideas. He said they should stop, attacking Somalis for the, simple reason that they are working with the government. So that's why some of them were jailed and some of them were killed. So this guy, when his cousin was killed on 1st of September 2014, this guy automatically became the leader, and he released most of the guys who were jailed by his cousin, that is Ahmed Godane, who was killed. So now he is the, de facto al-Shabaab leader. He's a guy who, came, lived in 3 countries. That he lived in Ethiopia, where he was born. Then he moved to Somalia. Then he moved to Kenya, in the border town of Mandera, and then he moved back. And he's a very, very senior guy. He's the brainchild of the Amniyat, the intelligence wing of al-Shabaab. That's why I think they picked him. Or maybe he was a very, very close cousin and a personal assistant of the leader who was killed. Maybe that also was an issue, that why he was picked. But he, tried to reform the group. But in 2019, he also appeared in a video and he covered his face. By the way, this is the only video, this is the only picture that is available of him. This is the only image that is available of him. When he appeared in that video in 2019, he was talking about the success that Al-Shabaab, realized, or the success they achieved by attacking Balidogle. Balidogle is a, Somali military airfield. It is located 90 kilometers southwest of Mogadishu, and it is operated by the US, the African Union Peacekeeping Mission, and also the British, special forces, and also some of the, units of the Somali National Army are based within Balidogle. So Al-Shabaab in 2019 attacked Balidogle. They were repelled. A lot of guys were killed, and he appeared in a video saying that they succeeded, which is not true. So since then, in 2024, November 2024, he sent a record that he recorded, talking about how Somalis should rise up against Ethiopia, because he accused Ethiopia of agitating to take the, coastline of Somalia, the waters of Somalia, and create a navy within the shores of Somalia. So that is that from this guy. Cheers.